The Dodge Charger is in rehab. It developed a bit of a problem. It went full electric, it was abusing the electrons, but they are seeking help, and Dodge is working on fixing things by putting a proper engine under the hood. This six-pack. It's not a six-pack of beers, it's not a six-pack of abs, it's a six-pack of cylinders, and yes, you can get a gas engine now in the two-door and four-door configurations of the Charger. Although it's still a rather big departure from the previous generation Dodge Charger. Ironically, the ingredients are pretty much the same thing as a G80 BMW M3. You have a 3-liter twin-turbo inline-six under the hood, 8-speed automatic transmission, all-wheel drive with available full rear-wheel drive mode. And there are still many steps left in the recovery process. Ideally, we see a HEMI V8 under the hood, and I would love to see the return of a Hellcat-powered Dodge Charger. But the big news is a proper gas-powered internal combustion engine under the hood with the Charger Scat Pack with the six-pack. Now, what is this thing like to live with? We're going to find out this week by using a day-to-day, taking on a road trip, and just see what this latest generation Charger feels like that has an engine under the hood. Now, it may not be a supercharged Hellcat V8, but the six-pack is still a rather interesting engine. It's the Hurricane High Output Inline-6, so a 3-liter twin-turbo inline-6. It has forged internals up to 30 pounds of boost, making 550 horsepower and 531 pound-feet of torque as a high output here in the Scat Pack, and 88% of that peak torque at just 2,500 RPM. There's also a standard output version that does 420 horsepower and 468 pound-feet of torque, but the really cool claim here is 550 horsepower for just under $55,000 for the Scat Pack entry level. Now, that's a pretty good dollars per horsepower ratio. This one here has been optioned up a little bit more, so it's probably closer to $70,000, but starting at $55,000 with 550 horsepower is pretty impressive. Yeah, that is torrential downpour. Alex has the job of first shift driving as we head to Road America. And we're testing out some practicality. We have Patrick in the back seat. Comfortable back there?
It's nice.
It's pretty spacious. That's the benefit of being in a Dodge Charger. It's so massive. You're comfortable in every seat. It's also insane to me that the car in front of us does not have their headlights on.
I was like thinking about that the whole time.
Visibility is like 2 feet and you don't have your headlights on. Like, come on, people. Charger, meet your father. The previous generation Charger, back when they still had Hemis and Hellcats and wide body versions. Hopefully they remedy that soon and throw a Hemi back under the hood, but at least we have a six-pack and it's not just that EV thing. Is that your imitation of what the EV sounds like, or the Hellcat? It's supercharged now. There we go. Did your chocolate re-solidify?
I can say that the AC blows really cold in the new Charger.
And is able to re-solidify melted chocolate.
And it did a great job of it.
Say hello to the skyline of Chicago passing through downtown. And of course, it would not be downtown Chicago without traffic. All right, that looks like it was a Scion XB at one point, but it's been turned into a pickup truck, right? Good morning, and we have arrived at Road America. We're not going to be tracking this car specifically. We're driving a bunch of other stuff and filming, but there is something that Dodge is doing, like a little drag strip launch control thingy, so we're going to have some fun. Welcome to one of the most iconic, epic, and beautiful tracks in America. All right, we are now in a six-pack Charger two-door, and we have a chance to do a little bit of acceleration testing. So we're gonna actually hit launch control. We're in all-wheel drive. Whoop, gotta put it in drive. Foot down on the brake, floor it. Here's the fun thing. We can go into full rear-wheel drive mode, no launch control, just gonna brake torque it. Definitely not fast, but that's the fun way to leave. And that's the cool thing about the new Charger six-pack. You can go all-wheel drive if you want a fast launch, or full rear-wheel drive for some tire roasting shenanigans. All right, now we're in the all-electric Charger Daytona EV, so we can do launch control. Whoa, that makes lots of rumbly noises. So floor the brake, Float the accelerator, and just go. That is fairly drama-free, and we smoothly accelerate away. So we can actually change our launch control intensity. At max, it's sending max torque to the front, but that actually causes a little bit of loss of traction up front. So we're gonna dial it down to medium. It'll give us a little bit better grip up front, but eventually it will dial in the full torque. Go back to performance pages for our timers. Golf cart goes by. Launch mode, wait for him to clear. Let's see what we can do 0 to 60 in the Daytona EV. Full on the brake, and you can still feel and hear a little bit of that torque being shuffled around. Yeah, 60 in 4 seconds flat. Best time is a 3.2 that this thing has been clocked at, so I think I was actually faster in the gas one. So there you go. That's another reason to buy the 6-pack instead of the Charger EV. We've got a couple of new Dodge Chargers here. These two on the right are both 6-pack gas-powered ones, 4-door configuration, and then this one over here is the electric one, the Daytona. One way you can tell is up front, you've got the front wing on the EV. There is obviously no engine underneath, so you've got this pass-through wing, whereas the gas one does not have that. You have a little bit more of a hood bulge, and then the 6-pack lettering right there. Ooh, Corvette Z06 going by. Road America is busy today. Lots of cars on track, but quick look at a couple different Chargers. It's one way to tell up front the difference between the gas and electric one. The other one is, well, you can hear, and then exhaust tips. So the gas ones obviously do have exhaust tips back here, and the electric Daytona does not have exhaust tips, obviously. Nice and warm, sunny day to take out the Dodge Charger 6-pack. Does this fuel door seem comically large to anybody else? Like my hand for scale, like it's massive. Anyways, we have a button right here, press that. You can open up the tailgate because this is like a kind of hatchback, not conventional sedan. So you actually have quite a bit of storage space back here. It's not insanely deep, a little bit of storage underneath here, but it goes all the way back and then you just have this whole like hatchback space. Kind of reminds me of like the Audi RS7 or A5, like the amount of space you get back here. A5 Sportback. Press the button there, closes the trunk. It's a little toasty sitting here in the sun. Start engine. Burbly sounds of that high output Hurricane Inline 6. Let's give this thing a few revs and see what it sounds like. Not bad. Kind of sounds like a standard twin turbo inline 6. It's got a deeper rumble to it sometimes. Not bad at all. Obviously you can't compare it to a HEMI or a Hellcat V8, but hopefully those will come. We are back from Road America, and that drive home was bug Armageddon. We decimated the insect population, so the front bumper is a little bit gross with a lot of deceased insects, but let's take a moment to check out the styling of the new Dodge Charger. They absolutely nailed the muscle car look. This thing has presence. It is so insanely wide. This is already 1.5 inches wider than the previous generation wide body Charger. I genuinely do not know if they can go even wider. If they put wide body fenders on this thing, it's gonna need like dually triple running lights or like a Ram TRX, right? It is already so enormously wide. It's 79.8 inches body width without the mirrors. A Lamborghini Aventador is 79.9 inches, so it's just as wide as an Aventador. It's wider than a BMW M5, Audi RS6, like big luxury sedans. This thing is kind of enormous. I'm not sure how they would do a wide body treatment, but it needs that muscle car stance, the girth, right? It has that presence. Now, an interesting thing is 2-door and 4-door configurations are essentially the same. So literally they shrink the doors a bit. Like you don't lose out necessarily. Now it's easier to get into the back seat when you have the 4-door configuration, and we were road tripping with 3 adults having someone in the back. I sat back there. It wasn't bad at all, but you can either do 2-door or 4-door. They are both called the Charger Charger. Couple other cues, you can see the logo here. Dodge, Ram, Stellantis, they do a really good job with their fun little badging, right? The Scat Pack there, and you have the 6-pack lettering, which is funny because if you read it from up front, it's upside down. It's designed for you to read this way, 6-pack. So you know there's an engine under the hood. We have this matte black graphic here. There's a couple different graphics, striping packages, and then the big gaping front end with the illuminated logo in the middle, the Dodge logo, and then the big DRL going all the way across. It hits the styling cues you want for a muscle car. Lots of intakes for airflow, cooling, things like that. Yeah, I can't wait for them to turn the aggression up. So regardless of wide body discussion, making it more SRT-ified, right? I'm sure we'll get the HEMI SRT, throw a 392 under the hood, and fingers crossed we get a Hellcat version, make it even more wild. Now this one's on 20-inch wheels. It's 275 all-season tires all around, kind of fitting the all-season usage of this muscle car, right? With the all-wheel drive system now, it's got this wider envelope of use case. They actually held a winter rally drifting event that I unfortunately was not able to make, but it ended up in Vermont to showcase you can now use your Charger in all weathers. All-wheel drive, slap some all-seasons or ideally winter tires on it, and go have some fun. But then you can go into full rear-wheel drive if you want to have your muscle car shenanigans, donuts, drifting, whatever you want to do. Now in terms of the wheels, these blacked out wheels, 20-inch by 10, you can upsize an inch wider, so you get wider tires too. I think they go up to 305s. These are 275 square stance. You have the Brembo brakes. You can see the Brembo logo there on the calipers. Pretty decent size brake rotors here. Now you do need some pretty hefty brakes because it's big, right? And that means it's heavy. Not as heavy as the Charger Daytona EV. It's 1,000 pounds lighter, but that's still very heavy. I think the Daytona EV was like 5,800 pound curb weight-ish. This thing's like 4,800 pounds. So yeah, it's not lightweight by any stretch, but as we walk our way alongside, you can kind of tell, yeah, this is a big vehicle. Now out back, I really think they nailed the styling here too. You get the long horizontal lighting element and actual exhaust tips. These are 4-inch blacked out exhaust tips down here. That's one way you can tell. It's a gas powered one too, and it says Charger back here on that gloss black section. And then you get the, what's it called, the Fratzog? I don't know if I'm pronouncing that correctly, the new logo thing, which looks actually really cool. And then we have a little bit of a wing back here. But yeah, this thing, it definitely hits the muscle car looks. You see this thing rolling down the road and you're like, yep, that is indeed a Dodge Charger. So honey, welcome to the Dodge Charger Scat Pack 6-pack.
What is it called?
The Dodge Charger Scat Pack 6-pack. 4-door.
Scat Pack?
Yeah, that's like the sportier one.
Scat Pack 6-pack?
Yeah, you have to have a 6-pack to drive one, so I'm actually breaking the law.
say.
I don't have a 6-pack. We're gonna try. We're heading to Orange Theory fitness class thing. Time to get back into shape, any shape that's not a circle. That's my goal. So they do call this the pistol grip shifter.
What?
Very American because it's like holding a pistol. Yeah, so it's the pistol grip shifter. So it's like you pull the trigger and you go into park. Ta-da.
Very American.
It is indeed a rather American thing. You know something else I discovered that I really like on the road trip? These little things on the side are a good pocket for like your phone. I was putting like my phone there, like a battery bank, my little like tech pouch with my cables and stuff like that. It could be like snack storage. I don't think that's what it's for, but it's like this extra little storage pocket.
What is it for?
I think it's
just for the handle.
That's the handle and then the controls for the window. But it's like a floating design element because then you have the backlighting. It'll be more clear at night, and then you have this really cool texture along the door that you can option in carbon. But I actually like this like pattern plastic trim. But it just gives it kind of a floating effect. But it does double as a very convenient little storage shelf slash, I don't know what else you would call it, storage bin, storage trough. Something I just remembered from the first time I drove the Charger 6-pack, the positioning of the memory seats. We were on Tail of the Dragon, and when I was taking turns, I kept getting this like warning message, like memory seat settings not available while in motion, or something along the lines of that. Actually, let me just poke it. And like, it was because my knee, memory system unavailable while in motion, because my knee kept hitting it right here. And I mean, it's very specific to my seating position, the length of my legs positioning, but right here, I remember I kept hitting it all the time on Tail of the Dragon, taking those nice little curves. Let's go up into sport mode. Yeah, still big. Proper cold start. exhaust valve's just like actuated. That's actually pretty loud. Quick look at the interior. I actually really like this pattern insert on the door panel. You can get that all in carbon fiber, but I think this texture is really cool. And then you have the ambient glow of the lighting, which, this is really funny, they call it attitude adjustment, not ambient lighting color. It's attitude adjustment lighting, so you can change it through the rainbow. Whatever color you want is pretty cool. We've got some upgraded leather here with the red stitching and some other contrast stitching there, and that is a electronic door release button. There is a mechanical little lever there for override if you need to. Now, this thing is very, very spacious on the inside. We've got the Uconnect screen here, and okay, this is something I don't like, the touch controls for your climate, because it does give you a little bit of haptic like vibration when you click it, and you can also hold the temperature if you want to change it very quickly, but this I just don't like. I would prefer actual physical buttons. There are some buttons down here for auto stop, start parking sensors, your lane keeping, your lane warning, traction control, and launch control, right? So when you do launch control, you press that, foot hard on the brake, foot on the accelerator, and go. USB-C charging ports. We've got a wireless phone charger here, plenty of storage, the pistol grip shifter, which is kind of funny. And here's another cool thing. I have the driver's seat set to where I'm comfortable at 6'3", and now let's hop in the second row. This is totally usable. I have enough headroom, plenty of legroom. It's actually surprisingly comfortable back here. I did a couple hour stint in the backseat. Well, I fell asleep. I took a nap when we were driving up to Road America in Wisconsin. So the fact that you can actually use the second row in the Charger for full-size adults. I am a 6'3", 6'+ person sitting behind a 6' person seating position, and it's actually very comfortable. The seats are nice. I've got heated seats back here, and it's not claustrophobic. Now, the two-door, four-door, it's like the same amount of space. It's just easier to get into the four-door because you have your own door back here. But I mean, this thing is big, but the benefit is lots of interior space, lots of cargo space back there with the hatch, but definitely practical for road tripping with 3 or 4 adults. Let's toggle up into sport mode and go for a drive. And wrap up final thoughts on what it's been like to live with the Charger Scat Pack this week. This thing is a really good cruiser. It was actually a quite nice road trip car. It's definitely quick, power on the freeway, passing power, things like that. And it can be fun, but it's big. You definitely feel the size, the weight. It's that kind of muscle car. It's not that dynamic or sporty per se. Now, when they launched this Scat Pack, I think it was a 2-door, yeah. The reveal and first drive of the gas-powered Charger was down at Tail of the Dragon, which, when that happened, all of us were like, whoa, that's a bold choice, because it's a big, wide muscle car, and the Tail of the Dragon and the roads down there are some of the most notorious, curvy, crazy roads that we have in America. And I remember feeling that it was definitely hefty, it was wide, taking some of those turns, but it felt pretty well balanced, and it was fun. It was fun to hustle through the turns, through the sweepers. Once it got more technical, that's where stuff started to kind of fall apart a little bit more. And then this week we did get to go do some burnouts, some 0 to 60 launch control, things like that, and compared it to the electric version, which I did not like. I'm just not a fan of the Daytona, and I don't think the market has been either. That hasn't sold well. So this is their apology tour. Let's give you a proper gas-powered Charger. It's very different from the traditional muscle car formula I think of. Honestly, like, when you think of muscle cars, at least for me growing up, Camaros, Challengers, Mustangs, it's the V8, right? If I'm shopping for a Mustang, my dream was a Coyote 5-liter powered one, right? I never really thought about an EcoBoost or the V6 one. They made those for people who wanted the vibes, I guess, the feeling, the experience, but didn't necessarily need the performance, the cost, and fuel economy. See, that's quick. That's definitely quick. So this is nice, but it's just missing that last little bit for that true enthusiast, passionate fun. Yeah, on paper, it's got all the right ingredients. It makes really solid power and torque, all-wheel drive with full rear-wheel drive mode, limited slip differential, all the different drive modes you can play around with, change your parameters, the performance pages, like all that kind of stuff. It checks a lot of the boxes, but just when you really get down to like a performance enthusiast car, there's just something still missing, right? And it's almost confirmed at this point that we'll get like a Hemi back in this thing, Hellcat, hopefully, because they are not letting the Hellcat die. They just launched the Ram Rumblebee with 5.7, 392, and a supercharged 6.2 liter Hellcat V8. So it's only appropriate that the Dodge Charger gets it again. Now, living with it this week, it's been a good daily driver. It's pretty comfortable. The power is fun. Definitely quick, and comfortable enough, very spacious, practical. If I'm being really picky, there are still some things with like throttle calibration that I would like to see. Sometimes it could be a little bit lurchy at times, even despite trying to drive as smooth as possible, and you definitely still have a little bit of lag off the line when you're in normal mode. Once you go over the sport, it wakes up a bit. Also, why are the paddles so tiny and vestigial? They're like buttons really behind the steering wheel right here. Because of the volume up and down the toggles, you just get these tiny little paddles. I'm being real picky now. But if you can get a good deal on one of these things, and it's a pretty good value, it would be a fun daily driver. It has the muscle car looks and presence, tons of space and practicality. I joked when I first did a video on one of these, it's like an American M3 in terms of the formula. Dynamically, not even close. It's way heavier, right? Even 1,000 pounds lighter than the electric one. This is still 4,800 pounds. That's a lot. But you know, you can smoke the tires if you want. You can bring your friends. It makes noises. And the last thing I'll leave you guys with is the reception was very, very interesting. Now, we drove this thing all the way up to Wisconsin. We were stopping for gas somewhere in the Chicago-ish area, and we were sitting there and somebody pulled up and they like rolled the window down. They're all excited. Goes, whoa, 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 that thing has an engine? And I'm like, yeah, this one has the twin turbo inline 6. It's a 6-pack, it's a Scat Pack. And the guy was like, yeah, I saw you filling it up. And I was like, wait, I thought those were electric. So some people still don't know that this thing has a gas engine. But he was so excited. He came back and asked, like, can I take some photos and videos? I'm like, yeah, absolutely, go ahead. So it definitely checks that box for sure. There were people on the freeway taking videos and photos, right? So it got a lot more attention than I was actually expecting. So that was a very, very interesting part of the experience. So I think at like $55,000 to $60,000, this is a very, very interesting option. Pretty decent value in terms of just straight up performance for the money. But the thing is, as soon as they announce a Hemi or a Hellcat version coming, that's going to become so much more appealing and interesting. I wonder if OEMs have to battle that, right? As soon as they announce a new one's coming, sales of the previous, less desirable iteration just pretty much flatline. I guess same thing happens with technology, right? If they announce a new iPhone, sales of the old one are going to just completely tank, although that's when they like discount them and provide more incentives. And there is still, it'll be a lower price point. Once they put a V8 in one of these things, hopefully they do, it will be more expensive, a proper SRT model. But this has been a fun week living with the Charger 6-pack. I was actually very pleasantly surprised with how comfortable, spacious, and just a good road trip experience. We spent a lot of time in this thing driving all the way up to Road America in Wisconsin, and then got to play around with a couple different iterations. Dodge had a handful of them scattered all over the place for that media event. But I hope you guys enjoyed this vlog living with the Dodge. This is the full name, 2026 Dodge Charger 4-door Scat Pack with the 6-pack. I think that would be the full name. A lot of different caveats. The naming convention is getting a little bit confusing. And then wait for the wide body Hellcat Red Eye. The names are going to get so crazy long because they've merged Charger 2-door, 4-door instead of Challenger Charger. Anyways, I digress. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thanks for watching.